Hey there, it's Casey Denman, TaxSaleAcademy.com. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. I've got a quick little story that I want to share with you that took place a number of years ago. But before I tell you that story, I want to first tell you the purpose of this video, and it'll all kind of come together at the very end. So, the purpose of this video is to remind you and to really emphasize the importance of triple checking every single document related to your tax sale business. I'm talking about the registration information, the bidder information, the checkout information, the closing information, the deed information, whatever it is. Triple check these documents. If you prepare them yourself, like maybe the bidder registration information, confirm you did everything correctly. If you have the opportunity to review whatever the county is giving you, review everything. And here's the reason why. I learned the hard way. So back in 2011, I was attending an auction. It was an in-person auction. It was a very, very busy auction. We're talking hundreds of people and hundreds of properties that were auctioned off. Now, I was very fortunate, and I was able to buy 12 properties at that auction. So when the auction concluded, I went out into the lobby of this hotel. I got in line for the checkout counter. It was a very lengthy line. It took me probably 25 or 30 minutes to get to the very front. Now, mind you, during this entire time, there's people in front of me, people behind me, people coming, people going. The auction company was breaking down, lots of chatter, lots of distractions. So I get to the front of the line. The gentleman asked me for my bidder number. I gave it to him. He pulls me up on his computer. He says, "You purchased these 12 properties." I checked him against my list. I said, "Yes, sir, I sure did." He gave me the total. I gave him payment information, and everything was finalized. He printed me out 12 receipts, one for each property. I glanced at the very first receipt. It had the grantee information, which is the buyer information. Listed my company name, my company address. Below that, it had the parcel number, the legal description, the lot number for that specific property at that auction, and that was just about it. I think it also had the sales price and maybe the date on it or something, but it's just basically a receipt. So, I had the receipts. I glanced at the first one, put the rest of them into my folder, and I went on my way. Forgot all about them. Didn't really think a whole lot about them until about a month later when I got the deeds in the mail. I got 12 deeds. So 11 out of 12 deeds were perfect. They had my company name, the legal description was perfect, the address was perfect, everything was wonderful. But that 12th deed, it has my company name and Matthew Milner. I had no idea who Matthew Milner was. After a little bit of research, I discovered Matthew Milner was the former owner of the property. He was the person that lost the property. He was the person that failed to pay the taxes. Somehow or another, the auction company that was handling the sale and the transaction process for the county put my name along with Matthew Milner on this new deed. So the investment that I made, I now only own 50% of. I own it alongside the person that just lost the property. So I own 50% and he owns 50% because the auction company completely screwed up. So I went back and I looked at those receipts. On those receipts, it says my company name on 11 out of 12, but that 12th receipt says my company name and Matthew Milner. I still to this day have no idea how his name ended up on that deed. The truth was, right there at the auction table, it went into that process because his name printed out on that receipt. Now, had I double checked that receipt, I could have said something right then and there before that deed was recorded. So what happened was that deed got recorded, my name, his name both, as 50% owners because it was messed up. And then suddenly, the chain of title on that property is completely screwed up. We had to talk attorneys and court hearings and all sorts of other stuff to kind of get everything unraveled and back to how it was supposed to be. Now, had I just taken an extra 20, 30 seconds to review all those receipts to make sure everything was correct, well, I could have avoided that entire situation. So hopefully you have learned from my mistake and make sure you triple check every single document related to your tax sale business, especially those receipts and that deed information. Guys, if I can help you in any way, feel free to let me know and leave a comment down below. If you'd like more information on tax sale investing, head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. You can pick up this book right here. The book itself is free, just cover the shipping costs to get it from our warehouse to your front door. Or if you're ready to dive in and you want to take advantage of one of our comprehensive training packages, just go to TaxSaleAcademy.com, the same website. There's a link down below. When you get to that site, click on Join, and become a member of the Academy. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.